Hello. I hope you all are having a great evening. um, it's funny because I've already taken a couple of takes, and so it always gets a little awkward after you've done the third or fourth time you try it. Right? But you know what? I mean, this is going to be corny. I'm going to do a corny little skit for you. But there's a reason for that, you know. And what I was saying before I messed up the last time was before all of this happened to me, and I think this was really the part that kind of broke my heart, or that broke me, is because the part of me that that a lot of people knew, you know, that I was working with, you know, and collaborating with, they knew the silly side of me. They knew that I loved to have fun and that I loved to laugh, and I was really a happy person. And so one of the things I think that really made this targeting so heartbreaking for me is because of that cheerful and that funny girl, the funny girl woman that I am, that I was funny and I would joke around and have a good time. And you know, I loved that. It made me, I was happy, and you know, I didn't know even in the slightest why these people were behaving the way that they were. I mean, at first we were all having fun, and then suddenly all that changed. And so, of course, you know, they didn't tell me why. I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, and that there was money involved, and that people were stealing from me and an opportunity from me. And, you know, and so, and if you've been watching any of my other videos, you know what's been going on, that I was, you know, sex trafficked and targeted, and, you know, and all of it was to humiliate me in hopes that I would actually end my life. And when you think about the happy, sweet person, and how I really was that, I genuinely was that, and I really was funny and was trying to, you know, just enjoy my surroundings, and was very creative, and you know, in the more comedic side of things too. But, and so when all this came down on me, a real part of me was crushed, so much so, a part of me that if you knew that part yourself, like for those of you that didn't know me, you'd be even extra pissed, because that was one of my best parts of my personality, was that I was funny, and that I loved to have a good, you know, be cheerful and have a good time. And these people really punched my guts out. They took everything that I am as a person, and they did everything they could to destroy that funny girl, that funny comedic part of my personality. They wanted to steal that too. And that was a very vibrant, special part of me. And so when people say that I'm better off now for having gone through that, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know who you destroyed. You think that you've made me better, but you haven't made me better. You haven't made me better by being less sensitive. You haven't made me better, you know, by trying to force me to be, you know, suspicious of people and less loving. You know, you haven't, you know, if some of you remember back to who I was, you know what I was like. And you literally wanted to kill that in me. You knew that part of my personality was really a special part and a huge part of who I am. And I'm telling you this because we had fun. It was really fun to get to be myself, and to get to express myself, and to play those little parts. Besides just regular singing, it meant something to me, and that part of myself, I don't know if I can you know, I'm going to try to get some of that back. I'm going to try to do something. This is corny. I'm not really prepared, but I'm prepared enough, I guess. When I was raising my children, I loved music. You know, I really loved music. Even when, well, of course you know that, but when but I loved musicals, and my children and I, we would be, you know, I mean, they were in plays when they were younger, but we were in a play in Provo, musical theater. We did A Christmas Carol one year, and that was just amazing. And my one son went on to do several other plays beyond that, and took theater arts in college, but then he switched to communications, so he just graduated from college in communications, and we're really proud of that. But I would sing these skits, and Hayden would grow up saying, he sang these skits too. He was very much, you know, very much thespians. And so, but I would sing the Wizard of Oz skits, among others, in Sound of Music. But I would do the Wizard of Oz skits when they were growing up. And I was just, you know, I don't know where my thoughts, how I get an idea when something's plopped right into my brain. But somehow it was plopped to my brain this afternoon. How funny, you know, how comical it is to think that this interaction between the witches and innocent Dorothy, right, and the judicial system and the city people, and how all of that actually comes together to actually explain my situation, just what happened to me. And, you know, them wanting me dead, but instead in the Wizard of Oz version, of course, it's the witch that dies. And that's how it ends up, right? Dorothy doesn't die, the Wicked Witch dies in the skit. But anyway, here we go. We're gonna, hopefully you'll see my point. But it came to me today, and I got a chuckle out of it. So hey, I need my chuckles. I really do. Here we go. So I'm going to play the part of Glinda, the Good Witch of the North. My copycat will play Dorothy, the meek and the pure. And my other copycat will play Mayor of the Munchkin City. And my other copycat will play the coroner. Here we go. And Toto is sleeping. I really wanted to involve Toto, but no, not going to do it this time. But here we go. Hold on. All right. My crown is a little tall, but Glinda's crown was a little tall. Okay, my magic wand. Here we go. I'm floating down. Scene 1. Oh, who might you be? Are you a good witch or a bad witch? Good question. Who, me? I'm Dorothy. I'm not a witch at all. I came from Utah. And this is my dog Toto. He's not a witch either. Come out wherever you are, and meet the young lady who fell from a star. She fell from a star, but haven't you heard? When she fell out of Kansas, a miracle occurred. It really was no miracle. It happened just like this. The house began to twitch, the roof to pitch, then suddenly the hinges began to unhitch, and then a witch, to satisfy an itch, rode by on a broomstick, thumbing for a hitch, and oh, what happened then was rich. Everybody, the house began to twitch, the roof to pitch, then suddenly the hinges began to unhitch, and then a witch, to satisfy an itch, rode by on a broomstick, thumbing for a hitch, and oh, what happened then was rich. Well, then all the munchkins, all the people joined in. Yeah, hold on. Oh yes, here we go. Hold on. The officials are coming. Here's the officials. Yes, we're here. We're here. Yes, we're here. Hold on. Hold on. My glasses, my spectacles there. Spectacles there. Okay, here we go. Oh, which one? Here we go. As mayor of the Munchkin City, in the county of the land of Oz, I welcome you most regally, but we've got to verify it legally. pussy, if she is morally, ethically, spiritually, physically, positively, absolutely, undeniably, unreliably dead. Okay. Pretty good. As coroner, I must have I can't sing like him. I thoroughly examined her. Not only is she merely dead, she's really most sincerely dead. Hail to Dorothy, the wicked witch at last is dead. Woo! As you can see. Definitely. Oh. Kind of sounds familiar, right? You know, I hope if I were to receive nothing but happiness, just happiness and joy, rich or poor, I would just want to be happy, doing what I love to do and feeling love around me. No more judgments and framing and persecution that doesn't belong to me. I didn't earn that, you know, I didn't do anything for that. You know, if I had one wish, I would click my heels. And you know, the sad part is I can't say there's no place like home. I can't click my heels and say there's no place like home. Because I really don't know where home is anymore. I don't have home anymore. And you know, and even though there was a time where I can honestly tell you that devastated me, I look to, it's almost like you have to look to a future and you have to imagine what it's going to be. And you can't really know exactly how it's going to be because, you know, you haven't brought that into reality just yet, but you're making it as you go along. That I want it to be a place of joy and love and good friends and, you know, good moments, you know, stage work, lots of different stage work. Writing and creating my life and having a great time doing it. And the moments that might make me sad or melancholy, I know I won't be able to linger there because that wasn't happiness, that wasn't joy, that was misery. Not every moment, because, you know, I have had beautiful times, you know, having my babies and loving them. You know, I can't say all of it was bad, but I can't imagine that anybody would put me through something like this for any reason. And I know that no matter what they say, the reasons weren't good enough because you don't know the person that you destroyed. You don't know the parts of me that were really special that were involved in this did, what you destroyed. And some of you know that part of me. And it's going to take time. But the person that you destroyed, that person wasn't a bad person. That was a good person. A genuine, loving person. I'm not ashamed of who she was. And people say, well, that part of you's dead. But you, if you think that that's a good thing, then you are believing all of the baloney. You're believing the lies then. If you believe that that part of me is dead and that's a good thing, then all you know are lies. Because that's not true. I loved the person I was. I was a wonderful person. I was a wonderful mother. And it doesn't matter what lies anybody wants to say. I was a wonderful mother. I loved my children. We went through a lot, granted, we did. But I know that I was a good mom, okay? So that's not gonna work because I was there and I remember. And so, you know, and I know that even though things weren't always perfect and I didn't always make the best choices in the whole world, as a human being, no. If you think the person that's dead, that died to become this, is better than who that really good person was, that sweet person, that funny girl, you didn't know her at all. You really didn't. You missed out. Because she loved everybody. She loved her family. She loved everybody. And not only that, she trusted them. And she wouldn't have hurt anybody. She would have never even dreamed of doing to them what they did to her. You lost somebody really special. And when you celebrate, or you expect me to celebrate the older me, that person's dead, you don't know what you're saying. You don't even know who that person really was. You're believing propaganda and a fake story that was not true. None of it was true. Do you hear what I'm telling you? I grew up. And who I was so much better and so much healthier than who I am right now, actually. Because there was an innocence still. An innocence and a real love. A really profound love inside of me. And I cared about my friends. I cared about people. I didn't know that all my friends were fake. I didn't know that. And that they couldn't wait until this cancer killed me so that they could take advantage of me. I didn't know that. And yes, it's good that now I know the truth. That part's good. To know the truth about the people that were around me, they can be dead for me. But as far as who I was, that person, you don't want that person to be dead. That person was a really good person. You don't know what you've done. You really don't. You don't know who you drug behind the shed and beat the shit out of. That was a really good woman. And you did that deliberately. And she'll never be the same. I'll never be that same person again. I can't be. I will never be able to be. And that's not my fault. You didn't do a good thing by me. None of you did. You taught me nothing. You destroyed something that was really sweet and that was really beautiful about me. And you're never going to have that again. Not like that. Never again. And believe me when I tell you, it's more of your loss than it, well, it's my loss too. But it really is yours. You'll never have that person back. I doubt very much that can even happen. You don't know what you've done. And that's the truth. But I'm trying. But I can't go back and I know what I know. My eyes are opened. No more Matrix, right? But you killed a really sweet person. You really did. Can't have her back.